Last time, on Asmiliath adventures, our heroic group departs Corntomb's heel with the knowledge that unusually determined Quaggas occupy the road they must take. Having no other route, and with a sliver of hope that their preserved quartermaster can be saved, the Golden Hearts delve into the highways again. Traveling for some time in the depths, Sierra begins to lay the groundwork towards reviving Adam, a mixture of her reputation and guilt spurring her to try whatever actions may lead to restoring his life. While traveling, the party comes across an apparent cave-in, blocking the entire roadway in front of them. While Sierra moves to investigate, hoping to find a way through, Jarek thinks quickly on his feet and reaches out with his gifted abilities. Realizing that there are hostile thoughts on the other side of the stone, Jarek warns the party of a potential trap before the cave-in is revealed to be an illusion. Facing down a gang of Quaggas but not fully falling victim to the ambush, the Golden Hearts dive into bloody combat, miles beneath the world's surface. Working together to drive back the savage beasts, the party keeps the situation relatively under control until a flanking force is discovered, going for the wagon. Quickly shifting their focus back to their cart, the party save their fragile companion Sparky from certain death, finally vanquishing the remaining foes as the echoes of battle fade off into the endless halls. Collecting themselves back into a group, the party continue their travels towards West Point, the dwarven city that connects to Folk Kingdom. Upon arriving at the industrial sprawl that is West Point, Sierra enlists the help of the party and purchasing a variety of diamonds, again in hope that one of these expensive gems would be enough to return Adam back to this world. Achieving a rather great deal, the Golden Hearts stock up on various supplies and gather themselves once more before heading towards the surface. With the growing anticipation of Sierra and Terry, both dwarves having never seen natural sunlight, the party winds their way closer and closer to the surface. Just before breaking free from the depths of the highway, Valorant stops the party to give them a quick warning of what is to come. Attempting to convey the harsh difference between the rest of the world and folk, Valorant is surprised as Rolly offers to enter his service. Unsure if the dwarf truly understands that he is signing up for, that sentence was poorly written, but that's fine. They agree to put that decision on pause before finishing their journey to the surface. Now it is July 28th, as our party trudges up the steady incline of the roadway, the fortifications of Vilstein growing closer with each step. Finally, as the bright sun casts its light down the tunnel and upon the virgin dwarves, Sierra breaks the silence. So as, the wagon is slowly trudging, heading westward where the sun is now setting, there is natural sunlight from the surface kind of streaming down. It's a slightly kind of like meandering path, but straight enough that the actual light of the sun can get in. Sierra holds her eyes up, her, kind of looking down ever so slightly, trying to adjust her, dark, dim, adjusted eyes to this bright light that she's never truly seen, only getting a small glimpse of what it's like with the pocket sun down in the halls. But, she's kind of like, standing next to the wagon, eyes down. Terry, who's also kind of functioning wherever you let Terry function. Sierra kind of looks over at the rest of the party, over to Rolly eventually, being like the main dwarf connection that she has. God, it's bright. Jesus Christ.
Well, it helps when you're born into it, but, grow up with it, but you'll get used to it. It normally takes a good couple of days before it's not as harsh.
Kind of looks over at the rest, kind of stopping at Valor and maybe we should have come up when it was night. Oh.
How would we have known?
Just, and Rolly does she have any sort of, scarf or anything?
No, she has the black armor of the Pale Legion. There's maybe some cushioning underneath it, but not enough to cover her face at all or avert or cover her eyes.
Do you have an extra undershirt or? Yeah, I mean something small, cloth.
Looks around no, I only carry what I need.
All right, I would fish through my pack and find. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I've got a extra shirt or something. Mm-hmm. I would and then just fashion like a little bit of a bandana around her head if she would let me.
Yeah, she probably.
Yeah. And then just pull it down over her eyebrows so that it's kind of like a brimmed cap.
Okay. Yeah, so stopping for a moment to get that adjusted, she now can, like, look a bit more directly towards where you're going instead of having to basically stare at the ground. She's still kind of squinting, you know, kind of flinching away from the bright light, but certainly appreciates the new little visor, I guess, that she has. Terry, at this point, kind of looking at the conversation going back and forth, knows that he's probably not going to get the same kindness and just kind of continues averting his eyes.
Terry,
Yes.
do you have a shirt? Something.
Looks down. He has like it's not, you know, a commoner's tunic, but it's not anything super flashy. It's, you know, something that you would just kind of modestly pass by. He like looks down at it, looks at you, and then he just like lifts the collar up above his head, so you just see like this kind of thin blonde hair kind of poking out the top, and then like lifts it so his eyes keep like looking at you.
Well, that's the spirit. Yeah.
So he's just gonna lift it back over his eyes and then put one of his hands on the wagon and just kind of blindly follow behind it. But yes, with the dwarves kind of settled, or at least in a better situation than they were. You guys are maybe, 200 or 300 feet from the fortifications of the city you are heading towards. Again, these are like walls built at the end of the cave, just in case, there's any sort of conflict between the dwarves and folk. But there's active guards on it. The architecture is distinctly different from what you guys have kind of gotten used to down in the highways. Instead of the kind of like straight, angular, dwarven stone cutting and craftsmanship, it's this almost kind of like overly intricate, jagged looking, kind of sprawling architecture that, it's very gothic, like medieval gothic in nature. It makes all of the various, parts of the wall and the small roofs and structures that you're seeing appear kind of rough or textured or kind of standoffish, giving you almost this kind of like cold vibe versus any sort of like warm, inviting aura that you might see on other fortifications. But so that's kind of what stood before you. There really isn't a lot of foot traffic on the road that you're currently on. People, we get dwarves from the mines occasionally coming up, but certainly travelers are not a common occurrence on this road. So that is kind of where you guys are situated. If there's anything you want to talk about beforehand, approach the gate, things of that nature.
I think Jarek would probably move up near Valoran. Valoran, do we have any need to try to disguise ourselves at this point, or should we be fine going in? I can throw a little bit of an illusion over Thor to keep him covered, but I would hate to think that we would meet difficulties right out of the gate.
That's all I would think of, is to try to downplay Thor's appearance. As for the rest of us, right now we're no one.
Okay. Hey Thor.
Yes, JD, what are we doing?
It might be best if you climb in the cart and I can just kind of throw an illusionary blanket on top of you.
Okay, I mean, if that's what you want to do, you don't want to, like... Does anybody have any spare clothes or anything? Or can you, like, make me clothes? I don't know, you do magic things.
It's not really the clothes you're wearing or not wearing. It's that you're not very common around here. Your clothes are fine. I've gotten quite used to what you don't wear.
I'm less concerned about it once I reveal myself, but until then, it would be better to maintain a low profile.
And sure, whatever you need me to do, I'll just hop in the cart with Carl.
Okay.
Do I have a
Jarek,
message from him, by the way?
There was a message last
Yes,
episode
I know.
and yesterday, but not currently now.
Okay, because I know there was a message sent, but I don't remember there being a message received
Yeah.
after. Okay.
But Jarek, are you trying to disguise Thor in any way?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and throw out maybe the illusion of blankets across him to make him, look kind of covered up.
Mm-hmm.
And then go to Sparky. Sparky, I need you to just kind of slither on him wherever he's poking out of the illusion and just kind of cover him up as much as you can. You're going to be a supportive companion to our sick friend. Thor, do you think you can pretend to be sick?
Yeah, I can definitely put on a good show. I mean, I can put on a good show for you, JD.
Okay, great. I'll just kind of keep that up every minute or so. I'll sit with
Okay.
you.
So, as you are in the back of the wagon, and Thor, you kind of sit down, and Jarek begins working this illusion over you. Sparky kind of just like plops down in your lap, and again, you feel the kind of like slimy goo that like comes off of him, kind of like rubbing on your thighs, and it's a little squirmy and weird. But he just kind of plops down, looking up at you. He's still holding that shard of wood that he is now charred, almost beyond recognition. He just like looks up at you. He's like, "Hello."
Hi, Sparky. I'm supposed to be sick.
I will be sick too.
Oh, it's okay. Yep. Yeah, that's
Ah!
fine. Oh, God. No, Sparky. Just tone it down, yeah.
Jarek Rowley, I have something I'd like each of you to do right away. Jarek, as soon as we get inside, I want you to try to find out if Salamon has any messages or parcels or deliveries that are passing through Vilstein, and try to intercept them, volunteer to carry them, whatever little lie you can come up with that you think will work. And it's probably better if I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, gladly.
There may not be anything. Don't go too far out on a limb, but I can't play this game until I start to see his pieces. Rolly,
Yes.
I want you to fill the wagon with bread, cheese, ale, blankets, toys, anything of that nature that you think that villagers would appreciate. And once we leave Vilstein, you're going to hand them out as you see fit, particularly when we enter Salamon's lands.
It's kind of like one of our mythical figures. It rides through towns and gives toys and candy and treats to little children once a year.
Precisely. They're going to remember us. They're going to celebrate us. It's going to be a time of joy. For the Golden Hearts and Valor and Athelvain have arrived.
Wonderful. Be happy to.
Oh, but if you do get ale, don't get what you would drink. All right, you can get a couple of gallons for a few coins. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, like the cheap shit that
Yes.
Derek drinks.
Right.
Absolutely.
In fact, have him pick it out, and then you can fill the wagon.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what other news I can find, posing as
I have
me.
to say, Valor and I. This is what you're going to be like closer to home. down for it.
We're not on a new page, my traveling companion. We're in a new book.
Quite the spirit.
As for me, I'm going to see what news I can find posing as not myself, and then we'll reconvene.
Alright, so what time of day is it right now?
It's you're getting afternoon, evening. It's probably around 5 or 6 in the afternoon right now.
Okay, so what time would we be planning on leaving to like start our Christmas in July?
I mean, it's kind of up to you. I assume you guys are spending the night in Vilstein.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got tonight and then tomorrow morning to... Okay. And Valoran, any particular amount of money that you're looking to spend?
The sort of things I'm talking about, you can fill the wagon to the very top for a few dozen gold, honestly.
Okay. Enough said. I've got it from here.
Oh, and get that fixed, will you? And he points at the tear in the wagon cover.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Fix the tear and buy the bread and no shitty ale. Alright. Yeah.
No, only shitty ale.
Only shitty ale, yes.
There, now you've got it.
So, as you dictate to Jarek and Rolly, Sierra kind of makes herself, next to you, Valoran, using her little visor thing to move a bit quicker along the road. Again, are you on Belgrease, I'm assuming?
Until we get within, like, a football field of the gate, yeah.
Yeah, so she'd be, craning her neck up to you. I don't want to interrupt your spirited discussion, but do we not have any plan for seeking out assistance for our friend?
Of course. You're in charge of that.
Alright. I will, I'm a little hesitant. I don't know how the surface works, so I don't know if I'm the best for figuring that one out.
Oh. Right. The language barrier. Rolly, will you help her with that? And then we'll worry about the shopping after.
Absolutely. No problem at all. Sierra, let's see what we can find out.
I'm happy to have you at my side, Halfbeard.
So, yeah, we should probably do that now.
Well, so we gotta get to the gate first, but, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments before we approach Vilstein?
Just that when Sarah reminds Valoran about Adam, after he says that, all that, he just sort of looks around and frowns.
So just before, we kind of move past this moment, those of you who are kind of paying attention would see Terry kind of, making his way from, the back of the wagon, using his hand to kind of guide him, eventually kind of, finding Belgrease's leg, and then, following behind Belgrease, and then, Valoran, you would feel a light poking at the back of your boot.
What? Yes, what is it?
Hello, I cannot look up, so pardon that I'm not eye contacting you, but I can speak common if you'd like me to assist in Atom's revival.
Well, I think that's up to Rolly and Sierra.
There's no reason I would decline the help.
He just kind of nods silently, and then we'll begin kind of following Rolly and Sierra wherever they end up going. But with that, the party would progress forward Oh, anything else, James? Okay. Towards the gate, you would see maybe 5 or 6, a handful of guards. You do see long, giant, flowing banners trailing from the battlements of the wall. They have this very distinct purple flower on the front of it that is the sigil of the house that owns this city, the territory around it. The various guards have black and purple sashes on to showcase their allegiance. But as you approach, there's 2 or 3 down on the ground kind of near the gate. It seems that they have kind of come down and stood there in preparation of seeing you approach, not commonly having to kind of mingle in this area. The gate's already open to you. But as you approach, one of the more dignified looking ones, wielding this long, kind of almost ornate glaive, kind of steps forward, raising his head high, looking you all over. He kind of peers at the grouping, realizing that this is just not another shipment from West Point, but an actual group of travelers. He kind of looks over the group. May I ask your business and who is approaching?
So Valorant dismounted almost immediately upon getting in sight of the guards here.
Mm-hmm.
Once you could kind of make out faces. And he moves to the front of the group and says, yes, we're a new merchant caravan from Giles. We're hoping to establish a new trade route.
He kind of looks around the party again, kind of looking at you, Valor, and giving you a little up and down. Very well. What goods are you bringing in, just for the records?
Well, we're not bringing in anything. We're looking to take something back.
I suppose that simple enough. May I just ask? I need to put down a name of the group. What merchant company are you a part of?
The Yellow Griffin.
He looks back at one of the guards behind him, who has a little ledger in his hand, and he dictates the name, and looks back at you. Well, as long as you don't want to cause any trouble here, we certainly appreciate any sort of business. You are free to enter the city, but if you cause any trouble, I will personally come and make sure you are thrown in the brig.
Of course.
And what was your name again, sir?
Looks down at you. He's like, "Oh, I am Captain Plantier. If you need to look me up, that is who you can ask for."
Plantier.
Yes.
Strong name.
It served me well so far.
Jarek would lean down. Excuse me, Captain. I was expecting a delivery from my wife to arrive in the city before we got here. Do you happen to know where to find perhaps maybe a storehouse or delivery area within the city? I'm not familiar to folk.
You're probably looking for the Pigeon Keepers. That's the messaging system that mainly operates in Vilstein.
Wonderful. She was also supposed to send me some new clothes that were not stained with travel. Is there anywhere that she would have possibly sent for the parcels?
I imagine that's a bit beyond me, but certainly starting at the Pigeon Keepers is a good place to start. If they have any sort of messages or any sort of physical packages were being shipped over, they would know where to put you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And where could I find that within the city?
It's over in the northwest side of the city. He kind of looks down at your get up and then looks back up at you. I would hurry over there so that you can appear more...
Well, Lord
decent.
knows I've had enough of the dwarven highways. And he just spit over the side.
Well, yes, you'll find it in the northwest. Try not to mingle too much as you go by. We don't want our residents getting dirtier.
Of course.
As you guys are like going by, you do see him kind of like crane his head to like get a peek into the wagon. Not like, stepping up to it or like poking around, but just, trying to get a little peek inside. You see him kind of like look over the contents very briefly and then kind of like check everyone else again. He sees Terry kind of doing the whole like hand over his eye thing and kind of like almost bends over and gives him a nudge. It's like, so are you all right? And Terry kind of like looks up and he goes, oh, dwarf, son. He's like, yes, you get used to it. And Terry kind of like nods his head and continues kind of walking forward. So, but you guys are kind of just given free pass to go inside. One of the things, the like first kind of things you notice is security isn't slack here, but their confidence of handling potential troublemakers is much higher, so allowing you into the city is a much smoother process. But, yes, are you guys passing through the gates and into the city itself?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Vilstein, so actually, let me do a quick little note here. As far as I am aware, James, you are the only person to see folk, like the cities of folk. Thor, you've probably maybe seen the countryside near like the base of the mountains, but I don't think you've ever ventured into folk itself, correct? Okay. So, and then yeah, I don't think Rolly or Jarek has found their way over here. Okay. So, for everybody except James, the city of Vilstein would very much appear to be a completely different world, almost like entering into the Dwarven highways with its very alien type setting. As you pass through the gate, and there's maybe another like half mile of traveling before you actually get out at the underground and into the city itself, it lets out into a giant plaza, which allows you to see the kind of varied skyline of the city kind of stretching out in front of you. You are basically surrounded, feeling almost like constricted or claustrophobic of the tall, dark stone architecture that seems to kind of stretch up into the sky like thousands of little fingers, little chimney stacks and smoke trails kind of dotting the sky above you, almost kind of dimming the sun to some extent. As you glance around at the populace in front of you, instead of seeing commoners kind of like toiling about or people just sitting there relaxing, there is this almost like dutiful, diligent determination on everybody walking around, eyes forward, whatever job or task that they're set upon being their sole focus. There's very little conversing or mingling as people, it's almost like watching an ant colony or a well-oiled machine as large swaths of people just kind of like go back and forth across your vision, making the plaza almost appear as this kind of ever-moving sea of individuals. Everyone is very finely dressed, very prim and proper. No one is slouched over or appearing to be disheveled or crippled or anything that would be seen as unsavory. But you are let out into this scene, and as you do so, both Sierra and Terry at this point, now fully under the open sky, you see Terry grab onto Sierra's shoulder, his knuckles like turning white as he's aggressively holding onto her, I guess her pauldron, because there's like a metal armor encasing her. And then Sierra herself is kind of like holding on to the wagon, almost not timidly, but for safety, as she kind of like moves her eyes up, and every inch her eyes move seems a little bit more timid and afraid as she like sees the sky, and then she like glances at the rest of the party and like, it doesn't end. Oh my god. And you see her just kind of like do a wide sweep from left to right, seeing like where the buildings end on the one side and going across the sky and back to the land, seeing this endless void basically stretching out in front of her.
Sierra, keep in mind that every one of these folks, if they were down in the tunnels, would feel just as out of sorts and quite a bit more afraid than you are. Quite normal. You'll get used to it.
Your words are very true, Halfbeard, but we are not down in the tunnels. We are, we're here. And she, like, looks up again, and now Terry, who's been slowly trying to adjust to the sunlight, kind of, moves his hand a little bit to kind of get a glance around. He chooses to stay more in an awed silence than commenting on the surroundings, but it is very apparent that Sierra is struck by the openness of the sky. Her eyes kind of like almost instinctively looking up again and again, just to kind of like make sure it's still there and that it's real. Well, you guys are now kind of been emptied out into this courtyard. It's, around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. You are in the city of Vilstein. Valorant, if you wanted any sort of information on the town, I could give you that and you could pass it along, or we could all sprawl out and do our various tasks, whatever you guys want to do.
So my thinking is Valorant will give them the name of a middle class inn that they can reconvene.
Okay.
Before it gets any later in this day.
Okay. So to give you a quick little info dump, when you've traveled here previously, where, lords and ladies in stay, where you would have stayed in your travels, is the Opel Heart Hotel. It's very elegant, very upper class. You almost go there to mingle, linger, hang out, converse, have a nice afternoon with wine and good company. Obviously, it's a little bit above the Golden Heart standard. The inn that you know about that is more for commoners, mercenary travelers, the ilk of folk society, is known as the Green Reed Inn. It's off on the southwest edge of the city, kind of out in the almost kind of rural part of like the farmland that surrounds it, and not actually in the pristine and pleasant interior of the city.
So Valorant shares the location and the name of the Green Reed Inn with everyone, and says, we'll see what we can get accomplished this evening and then spend the night there. Agreed?
Am I cured of my disease now, or do I need to be sick still?
No, you're very, very sick.
Okay.
Just for today. Just for today.
Or once we get like a blanket or something, or maybe a really big cloak, we can hide you a little bit better.
I want to go clothes shopping.
Who knows, buddy? Maybe if we can dress you up nice enough, people think you're just a very refined Goliath.
Yeah, I think we should go clothes shopping. I want to go clothes shopping now. Can I do it? Please, Valorant, please.
Once I have put my colors back on, you are going to be my right-hand Goliath. But until then, there will be many, many questions that we are not prepared to answer.
Yes. Okay. I accept.
Speaking of questions we're not prepared to answer, is there anything you can tell me that will help me get some information out of these pigeon keeper guys? Can you remember anything of maybe code words you've heard of that Solomon used, or anything like that that might give me a little bit of an edge?
DM?
I don't know that Valor would be overly informed on Solomon's communication. Basically what you would understand is, pigeons are kind of the tool used for most, letters and whatnot going back and forth. So if there was anything coming or going to Lord Solomon, it would be through that implement.
So Valoran shares that thought and goes on to say, well, Jarek, if it were me, I might start by trying to pose as a servant of his. He's very wealthy. He's unlikely to come pick up his mail in person. But you're the expert.
Well, I was going to start off as myself to maybe gather a couple of names of the employees there, and then come in later disguised. But I think it'll work out just fine. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Then if you have no objections, I'll head that direction here shortly.
As you see fit.
And then Sierra kind of looks over at Rolly, and then over at Terry, who's still clung to her shoulder. Back up to Rolly. Well, I guess we shall look for healers. Is there any direction we have for that?
I'm not familiar with the city. I look over at Valorant.
I don't know how well the four of you will be regarded, but there again, if it were me, the Cathedral of the New Ring is where I would start. But
There've got to be some sort of crosstalk between the folk of the cathedral and the dwarves of the cloth.
as are many things in folk, the New Ring caters to the upper crust. Mind your manners.
It would be tip-top.
I will try to keep my humor in check.
When need be, dwarves, we can appear quite serious.
It's not intended as a slight. I'm just letting you know what to expect.
Well, shall we? Now look at Sierra.
Yep. She nods her head at you, and then we'll follow your lead.
Good luck.
And so I guess the three of us would trundle off that way.
Mm-hmm. So that leaves Valorant and Thor.
So I'm looking for a bar. I know we've already talked about two different inns, and so maybe this waits until we get to the Green Reed, but some sort of watering hole that I can go do some information gathering of my own.
Well, it depends on what type of society you're looking for. The Green Reed would be kind of the commoners' gathering place, and the hotel would be kind of the upper class gathering place.
If those are my choices, then the Green Reed.
Okay. So do you want to wait for that? I mean, we could figure out some sort of middle ground if you would like, but those are the two that you kind of would readily know about.
It's it doesn't have to be anything in particular. I'm just avoiding the upper society for now.
Gotcha. So as far as I am aware, Valor and Thor, you are going to be the owners of the wagon for now?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you heading towards the Green Reed?
I think so.
Okay. Let's do Jarek first. Why not? So you are heading to the Pigeon Masters, correct, sir?
The Pigeon Keepers, I believe.
Oh, yes, the Pigeon Keepers, yes. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so you're approaching a certain way, disguising yourself, any plans? How are you doing this?
So on the walk over, prestidigitate myself clean, and once I get there, I go ahead and, what am I looking at here?
So yeah, as you have to kind of loosely follow the northwestern direction again. We're used to almost kind of foot-beaten roads. These are all cobbled, paved. There's sidewalks and wagons and carts. It's a very different traveling experience than any other city that you've been in. Freeside City maybe being the closest in regard. But as you are making your way, occasionally kind of getting rough directions from passerbys, which the majority of them would kind of give you a quick look up and down, a little squinty look, and then send you on your way. Eventually you do find your way to the Pigeon Keepers headquarters, basically, for Vilstein. And as you are approaching, it basically looks like a Walmart on Black Friday. There is a crowd of people, various packages, letters, colors, garments, a lot of them being younger males that look like, some sort of messaging runners of some sort or servants of some sort, all kind of waiting in this big huddled group, where these two large doors open up into the building that you assume is the messaging service you are looking for.
Oh. Rob, do you mind?
Right. Sorry.
Good.
So Jarek would approach as himself to begin with,
Okay.
and kind of try and push through the crowd at the same time, plucking a few notes out and casting Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
And just kind of maintaining concentration on that until he gets up to, I guess, the front. Kind of push his way through.
So I think it'd be rather difficult to get your way to the front because everybody is actively trying to do that as well. You can certainly try. It would just be more difficult than just doing it. And then as far as Detect Thoughts, are you just kind of getting surface thoughts or are you focusing in on some of them?
So the plan is I am going to be focusing in on whoever I talk to once I'm able to get to one of the employees. I just want to have it up and ready so I'm not casting it as I am in the middle of talking to him.
Okay. So yeah, guess give me a... Do you want to try and barrel through the crowd or definitely kind of like move through the crowd?
I would love to deftly move through the crowd.
Okay. Go ahead, give me a acrobatics check. Okay.
Did it go through?
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
So as you are approaching the group, you hear lots of mumbling, kind of frustrated sighs and words, kind of like whispering to themselves or muttering to themselves. Everyone is clearly frustrated to like kind of be here at the end of the evening waiting to get their messages out. You somehow using your force, your spherical aerodynamics, you make your way kind of past the crust of the crowd, kind of wading into the deeper section of it, eventually getting within almost like a stone's throw of the doorway. You're not quite inside yet, but you're able to see through the various, individuals moving in front of you, the kind of front desk, where there's like 4 or 5 employees kind of frantically taking letters and, passing things out and taking coin and counting them out, trying to deal with the crowd as best as they can.
And then once I get as close in as possible, what would be a good term? Pigeon mask, I guess. I just kind of yell out real quick. Where's the pigeon master? Where is he?
If you would yell that out, you would maybe see like one of the people at the desk kind of like look up, give you a weird look, and then go back down.
And I'm gonna zero in on them.
Okay.
With the detecting thoughts.
Okay.
Just to see what I can get if maybe he thinks of a name that's Hope, or a location, whatever it is. Just anything I can pull out of his surface thoughts to get an edge.
Okay. Probably the closest thing you would get. There's no, mention of Lord Solomon himself. But as like everything's going on, and you see the individual you're focusing kind of bouncing back and forth, you hear their thoughts kind of like going over the same category, basically like all these celebrations. God damn it! Stop! No. Why do they have to hang out? Why do they have to get together? This is ridiculous.
And then going of that, maybe call out. I have a letter for a party. I have an invitation. Where do I get it? I don't expect them to answer me. I'm just trying to pull those surface thoughts off of them.
Okay. So you're kind of like calling that out.
So
correct?
how do I describe this? So I'm basically trying to be part of the crowd that is bugging them. but naturally, as I'm yelling these things out at the clerics,
Mhm.
I'm hoping just to pull whatever information I can from their surface thoughts.
Okay. As you are, you call that out, and like the crowd is kind of jostling around you. A few seconds pass before you feel someone's hand kind of like grabbing the back of your shirt and kind of tugging at you. And if you look back behind you, it appears to be, a rather young teenage boy, maybe like 17, 16. Very well, kept and, trimmed beard, all the fun, folkish kind of things. But you see him kind of intently grabbing onto you. And he goes, "Is the invitation for Crow's Crest?"
You know of it. Did you have one yourself? I've been looking for others.
He kind of like looks you up and down. He's like, "Are you trustworthy? Give me a deception check."
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Please be better.
Okay. So I guess we're going with the 14.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks you up and down, and you're just like,
I held many a secret, if that's what you're asking.
he kind of like looks around at the rest of the crowd to make sure that none of them are kind of listening in. He's like, "I've been here for hours. I need to go to bed. I got a last back. I need to, right?" And he kind of shoves a letter in your hand, and he's like, "Send that with yours, please."
You have my word, yes, of course. And maybe we'll meet back up at the party.
"I'm not going." And he just turns around and departs from the group.
At that point, I think actually I'd slip out
Mhm.
around the building, maybe to a side, and
Mhm.
pop that bad boy open, see what it says.
Okay. So what you appear to be holding, there is like an invitation sent out, very nice, kind of intricate lettering. There's like some nice designs around the trim of the page. There's a little like blank spot at the bottom to fill in details. It is an invitation to Crow's Crest Manor for the 50th anniversary of the Battle of Cashin Canyon. So that is kind of like that part, and then there is a second piece of parchment with it, which appears to be the reply to the invitation. Basically, it's thank you so much for the invitation. I shall be there. Kind of a very overly done acceptance letter back.
And what's the name on that?
That would be Lady Belize.
Okay. Gotcha. And then if I am alone and no one's around, scanning around.
Yeah, I mean, you've moved out of the group, and like there's people moving around you, but no one's like near you.
Okay. Real quick intelligence check, I guess. What was the house of Solomon's? What was Solomon's house?
Crow's Crest Manor.
So if I would say, like, if I was to talk to someone, the House of Crow's Crest.
Mm-hmm.
Like the House Athelbane. Is that what?
So Lord Solomon is
Right.
the owner of Crow's Crest Manor. That's where he resides. That's the name of his home.
So he was of House Solomon.
Yes, but his
Okay.
actual home where he goes to bed is called Crow's Crest Manor.
Okay, gotcha. So in that case, go ahead and hit disguise self on myself.
Okay.
And make myself look like a scrawnier, kind of burly, or a thinner, burly guy in the Solomon colors.
Okay.
It's the same like beard setup that the guy I talked to had. Blah
Okay.
blah blah. Make
Yep.
myself look like a nice looking dude.
Mhm.
Square up, get up close to the crowd and just yell out, "Important business of the House of Solomon. Move!"
Give me a deception check. Or persuasion. I'll let you choose, because it's one of those iffy ones.
Gladly persuade.
Okay. Again, you can't just part the sea and step forward, but kind of calling out the name, you do see a few of the other servants there kind of like give way to you ever so slightly. You're still gonna have to wait and kind of like get to the front of the line, but it's a quicker wait than what you'd had to sit through previously, or what you would had to sit through. You'd probably be there for like an hour before you actually get to the desk and get a letter out.
Okay, but I can pick anything up from them too, as I understand. Yes.
Yes, you were doing detect thoughts.
No, I mean like physically pick up anything that they have sitting in messages.
You mean like on the
It's
desk?
a mail service. That's what he means. Like pick up.
Yeah,
the
like
package.
they have something. If they have something there
For Lord Solomon?
for Lords, I could ask
Okay.
about that.
Yes, you could ask about that, yes.
Okay, then yeah. I'm good on disguise or detect thoughts. Maybe one last attempt in the minute. No, because it's already been a minute. Yeah, I'm good on thoughts. So, cast disguise self again. Maybe 45 minutes later before I get up there, just so it doesn't wear off.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you step into the desk and you're basically going to ask if they have anything for him?
Yeah. Just, let him know. Okay. Here to pick up. My lord is impatient.
Yeah, as everyone's like kind of moving around, the one that you actually get to approach kind of gives you a very quick glance, goes like, "What do you need?" and answer, "Lord Solomon, we have nothing in, we have all going out." He has the invitations. Do you have one?
No, I work for him. Why would I be sending an invitation?
Well, don't waste my time. I have nothing for him.
Useless fools. Should be happy to help my house, my lord's house. I would love to throw some like insulting things, slightly insulting words in there.
Okay.
Along with the House of Solomon is above you all. And just see if I can maybe spread a little bit of like bad grace on Solomon's name.
Okay. I can certainly work that in.
Perfect. And then stomp out in like a childish tantrum way. Full
Okay.
view with the, colors.
Okay.
Skedaddle
Simple
the hell out of there.
Okay, and then you're heading back to the Green Reed Hotel or Inn? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, I guess we are over to Rolly and Syrah and Terry. So you are seeking out the cathedral that Valoran, I'm assuming, gave you rough directions towards?
Yeah, and if I didn't have precise enough directions, I mean, it would be a matter of I would stop somebody. Hey, dude, where's the cathedral? Walk another few hundred yards. Where is it? I think we can.
But yes, as you make your way to the New Ring Cathedral, this is over on the eastern side, fairly close to where you let out of the caves. It's almost kind of set up into the mountains that Vilstein kind of sprawls around the base of. It appears that a lot of the cliff faces of the mountain itself kind of been carved into this giant structure. Again, it's this sprawling kind of gray mess. It appears to be very well designed and engineered and constructed, but just kind of giving it a very brief glance, it's actually hard to take in all the various spires and towers and like gargoyles and decorations kind of jutting out of its features, giving you this very like overwhelming sight. But as you step forward, you see there's this very grand kind of oval staircase leading up to the front gates, which are these giant kind of ornate thick wooden doors. You see two various guards of either the church or the town that you're unsure of kind of standing there as the three dwarves kind of make their way in front of it. So you are leading the pack, sir.
And who exactly did I see standing there?
There's two guards up there. They are not dressed in the purple colors that you saw earlier. but it's hard for you to tell like who they serve or what purpose they are, but they are stood in front of the cathedral, so.
Okay. Excuse me, gentlemen.
You see them kind of like look over each other and then look down at you and then, kind of getting a glance at the dwarves with you. Yes.
We've come quite a long way from Bronshard, and I'm a cleric of the Mother. I was hoping to talk to a peer of your order. Are there any clerics that I could possibly speak to?
Are you sure that you are, in the right place? You seem a bit, underdressed?
Well, yes, that is the case. We have come directly from the tunnel, and unfortunately, most of our baggage was destroyed beyond repair in a quite unfortunate attack. So all we were left with were our traveling clothes, and of course we'd like to remedy that, but business being what it is, we really would like to speak on the matter of which we came first before taking care of our personal necessities.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check. Okay. So, as you are explaining this to the guard, you see him get smarmy, might be the best description for it. He is certainly not falling under your charismatic spell. And as you can see that he's about to respond, Terry kind of steps forward in front of both you and Sierra, looking over at the two guards. He goes, I'm very sorry to interrupt. My friend here is very right in his description that our belongings were taken from us rather violently. We are going to remedy that situation as soon as we possibly can, but there is a rather serious matter that we must handle, and if it would please you, we would like to step forth now. And you see him kind of like, as he's putting his hands forward, there's a few kind of gold coins that you can quickly see like glinting in his palm, and he kind of, huddles over them enough so that, like, people around can't see them, and you see the guards kind of look at each other and look back at him and then look at you, and one of them kind of like, the other one reaches down to grab the coin, goes, if you're going to remedy it as soon as possible, I suppose we can let your mediocre appearance stay in our cathedral for an evening.
That is quite, worthy of the folk, and you quite live up to your reputation.
I would like it if you were in and out as quick as you could be. So you said you were looking for a cleric?
Yes.
May I ask what you may need of him?
A professional consultation.
I think you'll have to be a little bit more descriptive with me. Are we talking about a bum knee? Are we talking about an illness, a plague, a curse?
A simple case of death.
Ah. He kind of like looks you up and down again, looks over at Terry. That is, a rather expensive endeavor. Are you aware of that?
I would reach inside my pocket and pull out the fistful of diamonds and hold it in front of his face.
Yes, it's nothing I think I'm unprepared to handle.
Stick him back in there.
You see a look of like genuine surprise come over the guard as he sees the amount of wealth that you flash in front of him. Kind of like, you're going to want Soul Guide Wilfred. Seek him out. He should be able to get you where you're going as quick as possible.
Soul Guide Wilf. And which direction might we find?
If you enter the cathedral, head down the west wing, last door on your right.
Again, now, thanks. And as we enter in, I look over at Terry. Masterfully done. I not have thought of that.
Kind of looks over at you, he's like, well, that was all the wealth I had taken with me, so hopefully it was worth it. But, if there's one thing that dwarves and humans share, it's their, love of shiny things.
These are quite shiny people indeed.
It's amazing that all of them can walk so well with sticks up their bums.
Well, it seems they practice it, here in folk.
But, lead the way, Halfbeard.
So in we go.
Okay. As you all enter, Sierra and Terry are slowly kind of getting more adjusted to the surface, but there are kind of like lingering effects that are still plaguing them. As you step inside and there's like a roof over them, you see like a wave of relief kind of wash over Sierra as she feels at least a bit more at home in an enclosed space than out in the open. But as you step inside, elegant is probably not a good enough word to justify what is presented around you. This is so overly grand and so self-indulgent in nature that almost every surface is covered in some sort of ornament or gesture of wealth. There's gold and diamonds, emeralds, all various kinds of gems, holy relics, elegantly, intricately weaved tapestries. This whole building almost functions as like a vault of these very show-offy bits of material. So as you enter in, it's almost like stepping into a dragon's hoard, but all centered around a religion that you know nothing about. So a lot of the symbols and whatnot that you see, don't mean much to you, but the wealth is very easy to discern. But yes, you can certainly go inside and follow the directions given to you to go towards the soul guide that you were told about.
And is there anything that I find familiar? I mean, I wouldn't know exactly what the studies as an acolyte would have been towards any of the Cuban religions. I mean, but since we're neighbors, I'm just wondering if I had any familiarity with them at all.
You would have like a rough idea of what their religion entails. Kind of common knowledge that I feel like any of the party could pick up in various different ways. Folk, the actual kingdom of folk, broke off from the Pruitt Empire a long time ago, and their religion kind of functions the same way. The pantheon of gods the Pruitt Empire worships, they kind of took and then warped into their own little perspective, taking the kind of martial world domination part of that religion and twisting it into a more economic, political ownership of the world. And so that's why folk is a lot more political and wealth-based than, martial superiority based. It's kind of almost, they kind of crafted the religion to reflect their morals, basically, or their goals. So the actual god that both the Pruitt Empire and folk worship is called the Earth Father. He's believed to be like the first entity of everything. He was the one who created the world, who all the other gods are descended from. He is, Big Papa Chungus, who started basically the Big Bang of Asmiliath. So you would know about him. Maybe you would know a few of the other, people related to him in the Pantheon, but that's roughly kind of the religion that they have going on here.
Okay.
So, but yes, as you go inside, you get many strange looks from the other people in there, all of them kind of almost gliding from place to place, standing very tall, kind of looking down at you with their chins held high. They're all dressed in very elegant and show-offy clothing and robes and ornaments and things of that nature. No one approaches you or says anything, but obviously the vibe is who let this ilk in.
Yeah, and I would as I'm walking through, I would pull out my holy symbol and let it dangle in front of me. It's really the only ornamentation I would have at this point.
Uh-huh. Okay. So as you make your way to the end of the West Wing and to the door that you were told to go to, it is left open, and you see inside is a bit more of a modest room, but modest to the main room is still a rather elegant situation. But you see inside, and it is more or less what appeared to be kind of a cramped office, you know, lots of shelves lining the walls, various like tools and workshop implements kind of set up around the middle area. You see, from what you can tell from looking in through the door, a rather like middle-aged looking, slightly gray-skinned human kind of working around the table, kind of messing with things, not really paying much attention to, you know, people out in the main room, but that is what you approach. You see him like glance up, there's a monocle kind of squinted in one of his eyes, and he kind of like looks at you, and as he looks up, one thing that you distinctly notice, he has a thick red, I guess, scar that goes all the way around his neck, kind of around the midsection. It looks like it's been healed and scabbed over, but it's distinctly there and visible as he looks up. And he kind of looks at you and he asks that you need something.
Yes, Soul Guide Wilfred.
He's out. Can I take a message?
Well, I was hoping to speak with him. I'm Roly Halfbeard, a cleric of the First Mother.
All right. What were you looking to speak with him about?
We've got a traveling companion of ours that unfortunately found himself dead a few days ago.
My condolences, I guess, yes?
Yes, it is quite sad, but it's quite beyond my abilities to heal him at this point, and hoping to find someone more capable than I.
Well, Wilfred had to go south. He is, bringing back a lord that found himself, dead on a hunting trip. So if you would like to travel that direction, you can link up with him there, but, if not, he will be back in about a month or so.
Is he a month away?
Oh, well, he's down there. It's probably about a week's travel, and then Wilfred likes to vacation while he works, and then he shall return when he wants to return.
Quite understandable. Don't like my vacations interrupted any more than anyone else. Is he the only one that is able to resurrect people not immediately dead?
How long has your friend been dead?
How long has he been dead at this point?
It's been about 4 days, I think.
He's been dead 4 days.
You see him kind of like wince a little bit, look up, and yeah, I think you're out of luck there. The other soul guides here are not that great.
Well, I prefer to think of them as not that experienced. Perhaps
if you want
one
him to come back without all of his mind, we can certainly make that happen, but I imagine you do want him intact.
Yes, quite.
Yes.
Alright, quick side, is it... The spell, is it 10 days, or is it 7?
What he had done to him by the dwarves in Corntomb's Heel was 7 days, so he has about 3 days left.
So if he's not resurrected within 3 days, it's not happening.
Yeah, you could attempt to keep it going, but we did discuss that you'd run into issues of kind of like tagging someone along like that.
And the area that he's the soul guide's at is further than 3 days away.
So if you know, you're getting more details from the guy that you're speaking to, it could be done in 3 days by, like, traveling rapidly. He's a week away by, like, normal traveling means, but if you, like, raced there, you could potentially get there in time. Because
Knowing
also, his body starts decaying, like, normally once that happens, so he would still have, like, another day or two of rotting.
Okay. Was I able to ascertain exactly where he's at? Like, or would that be something that?
Yeah, I could give you like an exact location, but for now, it's like he's out in the woods reviving a lord that fell during a hunting trip. So.
Okay. So assuming that I could nail down exactly where he's at, then I would take that information and go straight back to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you are leaving the cathedral, kind of out of earshot of all the other people, Sierra kind of, nudges you and then speaks up. I am assuming that the party's other business is a bit more pressing than shooting ourselves down south.
It might be, but it's not for me to decide alone.
Well, I guess there is hope for Adam then.
Maybe.
So.
And then make your way to the inn?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Valorant and Thor, you are already there, arriving much sooner than the rest of the party. So is there anything that you want to do upon arrival?
So first is to go inside and get a drink. And try to chat the barkeep up a little bit.
Okay. I'm assuming you're leaving Thor in the wagon, sick as can be. Okay. Alright. So do you want like a general persuasion check?
Just sort of like I'm a caravan guard, Folk is my home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been gone for a little bit. What's the latest around town?
Gotcha. You would be familiar with this, the rest of the party would not. The populace that is enslaved in Folk is half-orcs, basically descendants of the orcs of the Surbat Mountains and then humans at some point and so on and so forth. At some point, there is, quarter orcs and 16th orcs and that kind of thing. So the individual that you're talking to at the bar is somewhere along that spectrum where he is seen as human enough to be allowed to be free. He's still kind of looked down upon, but not like in the category of enslavement. So that's, who you're speaking to. But he kind of like gives a little like gruff, bullshit about like, they're working everyone too hard in the upper class, this, that, and the other thing. As far as like major events or catching you up on things or, the goings on, he would mention that there is some sort of big shindig going down that he's heard rumor about, but doesn't have like exact details for. He would also, mention generic things like the Pruitt Empire and Folk are kind of constantly, rubbing with each other. So like there was a trade embargo for a week that's now done, and that brought up his prices, and everyone complained about that. Kind of. Day-to-day stuff that you would normally hear in Folk that, you're just kind of getting caught up on. So.
And if I drop Salomon's name, well, first off, let me say this. The big party, that's all he says, just a big party.
Yeah, he'd be like, the frickin' princes are going over west somewhere, celebrating some big victory. Fuck if I know.
So, maybe I can remember, being that I grew up here.
Mm-hmm. The victory that he's talking about?
Yeah, the event.
Yeah, give me a history check. Yeah, it'd be hard for you to place it off the top of your head, because, a lot of different places, not really knowing exact details.
And if I drop Salomon's name and just along the lines of like, as Has Salabad swallowed up Corsair yet? I hear the Athelfades are on the rocks.
You see him kind of like look up for a second. He's like, That's the man that's throwing the shindig. I think that Solomon character, the one way west. Yes, I think he's the one gathering up all the bloated individuals.
Figures. All they do is enjoy their leisure.
Well, once they piss out their wine, I'll make sure to serve it back to you, as folk goes.
As folk goes. Just try to give like a knowing sort of smirk, like, haha, yeah, you and me.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's up. Anybody else that catches my eye here in the...
Yeah, so the actual building that you're in, the inn itself, it very much is like this bare bones establishment. There's a large kind of gathering room when you first step in, and there's a sprawling amount of tables. All the individuals there seem to be, your kind of classic field workers, commoners, laborers, sitting down after a hard day's work, shooting the shit, trying to have a little moment of levity before they go back to sleep and do it all over again. There isn't a lot of, partying or enthusiastic conversation. It's mostly just kind of a bunch of friends hanging out for the evening before the day ends.
Okay. I'll finish what I'm drinking, order another, along with whatever his cheapest plate of food would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then walk outside with it.
Okay. Yeah, so he would certainly get that for you, kind of give you a little, I guess, friendly or common head nod, and then let you leave with your goods.
And I'll take it to Thor out at the wagon. Kind of hand it inside.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm so sick.
I know it's no fun out here. It's just for today.
Oh, yeah. I'm just so sick of not shopping for clothes. Did you learn anything that's important?
Salamon's having a party. And we're just in time.
Did we get invited to the party?
I think the crux of the message has been that we must attend, if you recall, Thor.
Oh, all right, yeah, that part. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm on board. Yep.
All right, listen. My thought is this: you won't have to keep up this act after today. When I put my colors back on tomorrow, you're my bodyguard. That's our story.
I mean, yeah, that is pretty much. Yeah, that is pretty much what I do, anyways. But yes, I can fill that role for you.
No,
sir.
but I mean, as far as anyone else is concerned, it's official, some sort of blood oath or something. What do you Goliaths have that would bind you to me?
Usually you beat the crap out of me, and then, I owe you my life because you didn't kill me.
Sounds good. Let's go with that.
Sounds good to me, yep.
All right, and that will give you cover to not be lynched by a mob. At least until something happens to me.
Sounds like a plan, whatever you have to do.
All right, just sit tight. Just this evening.
Yep. I'll just go back to dying.
You want anything else? Are you gonna want something to eat later again? How does this work with you? I've never paid attention.
Usually, I just eat like a couple of meals in the afternoon. I can
It's fine. It's fine. You're good. I'll be okay for the day.
All right. Okay.
As you're speaking, you see Sparky kind of raise his hand.
Oh, right. You. I'll see if they have any pork products. Be right back. I'll head inside and see what they've got.
Okay, yeah, you could certainly acquire some meat. It's probably a little discolored, but the consumer is probably not going to care.
All right. I'll bring that out and toss it in there like I'm throwing a bone.
Okay. Yeah, Sparky would eagerly grab that and begin gnawing on it as him and Thor are down with syphilis in the back of the wagon.
I'm just gonna be laying with Shard's Edge on my chest, kind of like I'm dead in a coffin.
Okay.
All right. Keep up with the good work.
Aye, Captain.
Yes, so then around this time, I imagine both Jarek and Rolly would be returning to the inn.
Really, good luck.
Well, I suppose that all depends. Am I just speaking to Jarek, or am I talking?
Yeah, we could say that like you guys kind of met on the way back, and you're like walking to the tavern or inn.
The only individual in this city that is capable of curing the dead is off curing the dead elsewhere. Roughly about 3 days south of where we are, of a hard ride. So if we leave everything now, march through the night, sleep on the road, the whole bit, there's a chance that maybe we can find him. No.
That's a pretty big if.
So yes, let's bring this to Thor and Valorin and see what they've got off.
Yes, you guys want to all convene at the wagon, have a group discussion. Quick side note, Jarek, because you'll probably ask for this, I'm assuming. The party invitation has the event taking place on August 10th.
I am very familiar with the current date anyways.
It is July 28th.
So what's up, guys?
Thor, what's wrong with your voice?
What do you mean? I'm very sick with the disease.
I thought we were just pretending for like 8.
No, apparently this is a whole day sickness. I'll be fine tomorrow, don't worry, I'll sleep it off.
Oh. Yeah. I can make it rub all over. So that's good.
What? No, that's not.
Laugh under his breath. Valor. Got here it is.
Rob, mute, please.
Here, I didn't have anything that I could get from Solomon, but we did get this, pull out the letter. It may be disappointing somebody, but I think I can probably pull the ink out of the signature and maybe make a brand new fake person to put on here.
That's an interesting thought. I've already gotten an invitation of a sort, but we could use that. What's the name of the battle as Valorn is reading it?
Yeah, it is Cashin Canyon, the Battle of Cashin Canyon.
Now that I've got a name to remember, do I recall anything else about this historical event?
So it's the 50th anniversary of this battle, so it happened 50 years ago, imagine that. There was like a small, I guess you could say, crusade into the mountains to try and eliminate some of the more problematic orcs and Goliaths and the various, hostile creatures that live up there. It was spearheaded by a bunch of different nobles. It was almost kind of like a sporting expedition. It was like to go prove their valor and honor and, earn respect in battle, basically. So everyone kind of chipped in, had their own little family armies gather, and then go up into the mountains to take care of some stuff. So the important figure that you would know connected to Solomon would be his uncle, who valiantly kind of held off this canyon pass in a very heroic display. Whether or not that's the true events, that's kind of what's been recorded and passed down. So he would be reenacting that battle basically as a little party.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And I think you said Lady Belize was who this was for? Do I know who that is?
She's kind of like a lesser noble in Vilstein. She's not connected to the actual owners of the land. She's like a second or third tier noblewoman in Vilstein. So
nobody we really need to be too concerned with pissing off.
No, like she's low enough on the folk radar that doesn't really ring any alarm bells for you.
Got it. All right, I will make sure Jarrett gets that back.
So, if you want, I can try and pull the ink out on forge a new identity on here, and maybe we can slip at least one of us in, two of us in, unnoticed, or at least, outside of their expected visit from you.
It's good thinking. Yeah, get started on that. Thank you, Jarek.
See what I can do.
Well, as for my part, we might have a problem, Valorant.
Of course.
Yes. The only one who can heal him is maybe 3 days south, if we're lucky. And not in any hurry to come back. And I would explain everything I'd heard.
Mm-hmm.
Lowly, if you want to chase this down, you'll have to go without me. The clock has been ticking on this for me since the shelled marauders.
I believe we have done enough. I think that probably time for us to part with Adam.
I'm sorry. I may already have been recognized. Once that happens...
Our duty is to the living now.
Oh no, there was a nice little patch of trees near the road as we were heading towards the city. The party's not for several days. We could go deposit him there. It was nice. Maybe he can look upon the sunset in the afterlife. I don't know how that works, but we could definitely do that. We could give him something nicer than the wagon, rest.
Sierra kind of, who's been silent, listening to this all go down, kind of glances around at Jarek's proposal. Does nobody know what god he serves? What his desires of after death would be?
So, I'm assuming I would be familiar with the gnomish religion, and being that I was friends with gnomes and Bronshard.
He's more Giles than gnomish, so he would probably, if you had to assume, I don't think anyone ever asked him, would be probably of the religion of the Randallin of the Brother, which Jarek would be familiar with being from Giles, but no one, I think, ever got a definitive answer on that.
Can we not... I'm not familiar with these kinds of arrangements. Can we not send him home?
It would be significantly cheaper to bury. I mean, it would just get easier. It would be much easier to bury.
But can it be done?
For a price, I'm assuming anything can be done. For that matter, for the right price, we could hire somebody to take his body to this fellow and potentially, I don't know.
Zero.
Yes.
There's a lot more of the overworld to see.
Are you attempting to recruit me to try and find this guide?
I'm asking you how serious you were about what you said in the underground about seeing this through.
I was pondering that on our way back here after we left your human cathedral, and I am conflicted. For one, I don't know if I'd be able to do it. I'm not familiar with the people and the traditions. I don't even know how to figure out which way is which. I'm very used to turn right, turn left, follow the only path in front of you. And then there's also the fact that I am sworn to the Legion, and even coming to the surface is an iffy adventure. I don't know, to be quite frank. I don't know which way I fall on that decision.
I understand. I know it's asking a lot. I won't hold it against you if you decline.
Valoran, if you tell me to do it, I will do it.
I am not your master.
You see her just kind of like resign herself from the conversation, kind of looking at the ground.
Quick question.
Yes.
What are the funeral
Say it again?
for? What are the funeral practices for the brothers?
Randallin and the brothers, yeah. It's kind of your traditional burial kind of thing, except the one caveat to that is if you're married, you guys have come across this during your adventures. The wife's bones are kind of like kept sacred, and the husband is supposed to guard them until he too, goes to the afterlife. So for all of that, you would know if Adam was a follower of Randallin and the brother, he would just kind of get a normal burial procedure.
Do we know what this person charges for bringing people back?
No.
That is pretty helpful information, because then, we could send the money, get it all going.
Does anyone want to try and do a history check or an intelligence check on this one?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, yeah, give me an intelligence check.
Here.
Okay.
Oh.
That
Oh,
was-
wait, did you? Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Where's Rob though?
Oh, you want? Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
you were.
yeah.
Bro, mine's a meme. Are you kidding me? I don't know anything about
Thor has a light bulb.
Oh my god.
You know, guys, I've been thinking about this all day.
So, just kind of going off what you could commonly assume, it would certainly cost more than 1,000 a day that he was dead. Like, that's kind of like your base assumption, being people in this world.
The fact is, even if we could find this person in time, we can't pay him.
Then that's that.
But was this just a lost cause from the get-go?
You never know until you try.
I mean, potentially we could set up a payment plan.
Let's send his body home.
Agreed.
Do you want me to ask Clifford?
Clifford, yeah?
I think we should at least
I-
send somebody a message and let them know.
I mean, I can let Clifford know that Adam's body needs to be retrieved and just let the Duke take care of it. He was the Duke's man. No reason for us to pay for, shipping out his body back to Giles.
Valorant doesn't argue with giving Clifford a heads up, but if Jarek actually says that it's because we want to do cash on delivery for Adam's body, then I'd tell. that's a little more of a conversation.
Well, just saying. It just seems appropriate that as Adam was sworn to Duke, that the Duke uphold his noble responsibilities to see his man return to his.
Rob, can you mute your mic?
Sorry.
Jarek, enough. It's bad enough we can't afford to bring him back. We can at least afford to send him back.
And also, he's our man. He's not the Duke's man anymore.
Well said, Thor.
So we will send him back to his dad, the travel agent, I believe.
As
Okay.
you are discussing sending him back, Sparky, polishing off the residual amount of his meat, kind of looks around at the party, kind of like holding up his little stick. He goes, "I go."
You want to go with Adam back?
Yes.
But you're not gonna be near any of us. You're gonna be with somebody else who you don't know.
Hey, Adam.
I guess that's true. You do know Adam. I mean, if you want to go, Sparky, I'm not going to stop you.
Gives a little nod.
JD, do you have anything to say about your little pet factory falling apart?
Jarek is trying to kind of keep it together. Sparky's been a very favored pet ever since they decided to not throw it in the cave. Baki, you're not going to survive the journey. You have to stay with us.
No.
No, Sparky.
Derek, I think he should go with him. They were friends. He wants to accompany the body home. It's a very noble gesture.
Here. I don't want to lose someone so close again. But no, you're right. He'll be safer. Is there anything else we should tell Clifford? We were really beholden to the Duke at this point, but perhaps anything he may have insight on for us.
You could tell him where we're going.
I don't have anything further right now.
Then after this, I'll send a message with.
So at this point, Sierra kind of just like turns and walks off, kind of leaving the roadway and kind of maybe making about like 30 or 40 feet off the road, removing herself from the situation entirely.
I'll walk after her. Sierra.
She kind of like looks up at you. There's like a small wince as like she kind of catches the last residual rays of sun, kind of like looking away for just a second, but like looks back at you. What do you want, Halfbeard?
Do you not agree?
It's not a matter of agreeing, it's the frustration that there is no other option. It is hard to accept that I am not enough.
We were not enough. And sometimes the mother is very specific. It's very clear what she wants sometimes. Other times, it's up for interpretation, but how many ways did we try to say? I think this is something's way of telling us we've tried hard enough, but it won't happen.
I don't know if I can bring myself to agree with you, but I do appreciate your attempt to explain it to me.
If it were... I understand your frustration, but there are many other people to protect, and you still have a job.
I'm going to find it difficult doing that job again with the knowledge that I am less than I once was.
That's a way to look at it, but I'd say you're more than you were before. You've been humbled. You've learned something that most people already know, that they're not perfect, and sometimes things happen that you just can't fix.
You know what, Halfbeard? Fuck being humbled. It's bullshit.
Well, I am full of shit, if you ask many people. But don't be late for dinner. Go back.
Okay. So I think that is a fitting time to take a 10-minute break. Wow, okay. Okay, so as you are chilling in the back of the wagon, as a Goliath does, waiting out through the night, you suddenly are hit with a surge of inspiration. All of the neurons in your brain, the three of them, all firing off at once as you hop from the back of the wagon, not thinking, and go charging into the inn, which again is this kind of modest, almost kind of like farm-looking-esque building out on the outskirts of the city. You push in the door, and you're like so quick and so determined moving across the kind of main room towards the staircase that the barkeep isn't even like given enough time to like rise from his slumber and see you. He just sees a blur dart by, his groggy eyes just kind of like, oh, whatever, and going back to sleep. As you go thundering up the stairs, the rest of the party, having rooms upstairs, whatever accommodations you set up, would hear this thump, 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 thump as Thor goes racing up these rather rickety wooden stairs. Once you get up to the actual second floor, it's just a long hallway with doors on either side, and you have no idea which door leads to the companion you're looking for.
How many doors are there?
There's 6.
Pick the 4th door.
Hey, Jarek, roll me a 1d6.
Come on, coincidence, let's go!
Nice. Wow, okay.
What
So,
is in
as you go stumbling up the stairs, your eyes darting over all the various doors, you sit there for a split second, your mind focusing in, your ears extending, and you hear the gentle snoring of your companion. Knowing which door you must go through, you charge down the hallway, not breaking open, but throwing open the door as it reveals the singular room where Jarek is sleeping, or whatever you're doing at this time, sir.
Being paranoid is all hell. I think hearing a massive just slam of the door, Jarek would probably bolt up and... No, Lasky, no. What?
JD,
What?
JD, it's me. So
What?
I've been thinking. You know, friend, right?
No, it's the middle of the night. What?
JD, just follow me. You know, friend, right? I mean, you don't know him, but you know him, right? The dragon guy.
the dragon guy. Okay.
Yeah. So he just like randomly popped up out of nowhere, right?
What do you mean? I thought, didn't y'all go to a tower?
Well, yeah, but nobody knew the tower was there, right? The tower was like not there before, and then it was there.
I guess.
Like the wizard man that didn't live there for the past 40 years that you've been alive, right?
Well, I mean, that's true. I don't remember there ever being mentions of anything.
Right. So then, I go traveling, my mom dies, I hear about it, I'm like, oh, there's a wizard man. So the thing is, I was thinking, like, what happened to where no dragon man, event, dragon man?
Are you suggesting we have to kill our parents in order to find
JD,
him?
No, Jason, okay. What happened to your tavern?
Well, I burned it down, and as I remember, it cracked the stones when it collapsed.
Right?
Yeah.
And around that time, Dragon Man.
What, do the stones have something to do with him? They were just
I don't know, I
formations.
have no idea, but after Stone Crack, Dragon Man.
Well, I mean, do we need to break into their stone?
I don't know.
I mean, everything you talked about sounded like a completely insane individual.
But think about it, he doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't know why he's trapped. Maybe the things are like different things that are hiding him from what he actually is. So the first thing was like invisible. And then you can't see him, right? And then maybe one of the things is like he forgets who he is.
I mean, I'm just gonna throw this out there, Thor. If you're suggesting we go break the stones and release him fully, I'd like to point out that sounds like a terrible idea.
Why not? Why? But why? Why? What has he done? You haven't even met this guy. You don't know anything about him. He's the nicest guy that I know, and he's super powerful, and he could help us. He knows things, JD.
Well, yeah, but what if he's actually toward him?
He's not toward in.
I mean, did he have all of his pieces? What did he, like, limbs?
Yes, JD. He had all of his pieces.
That would make sense. I mean, from the visions the Duke showed us, I mean, the thing was not a dragon. I don't know. What do you want me to do? I can maybe have some people go look into it.
No, I don't want your weird murder party people to, have free reign on your town, because I don't know what'll happen to them. But
yeah, well, that's their problem.
But no, what? I'm just saying, what happens if we break another one?
I mean, Thor, this is
just think about it. Okay, we break it, and it so happens that Chad Ironwood is underneath it. Like we could really line these things up.
Jared pauses for a moment. That's actually not a bad idea.
Okay, I was just joking about the Chad Ironwood part. We don't kill Chad Ironwood.
No, Thor, it's fine. I think I have some messages to send out. Do you want to sleep up here, Thor? I don't know if...
No, I'm still sick. Bad cough.
Thor, if you go back down there after making all of this racket, someone's gonna see.
Nobody will see me, JD. I am super sneaky. And then I'll slap him in the face and I will try to stealth away.
Before you do that, as there's the brief moment of silence, Carl, stands on your shoulder and just kind of functions. As there's silence in the conversation, you hear his voice, which is, again, kind of your voice. However we want to figure that one out. In your mind, he goes, "Good idea." I miss Big.
We'll have to address that later, Carl. Anyways, and then I will attempt to disappear.
Okay. Give me a stealth check. Describe to me how you are getting back to the wagon, sir.
So I'd like to, slowly creep down the stairs, send Carl ahead of me, and just have him tell me can Carl see?
So if you get partially down the stairs and set Carl down to go ahead of you, is this what you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. You see Carl kind of do the last couple jumps, which are rather big leaps for him, getting to the floor, and as he hits the ground, you hear, "Oh, what are you?" And then footsteps coming towards him, and Carl just kind of goes, and then just falls to the ground, pretending to be still.
Fuck, Carl.
But from your vantage point, you would see what you assume to be the barkeep you ran by earlier, kind of reach down, pick Carl up and kind of start looking at him.
Okay.
I think Jarek, being full of concern, would have at least been watching from the doorway at this travesty of a plan.
I mean, you would be seeing this go on, yes.
What?
Yeah. And he would just kind of walk up, whack Thor on the shoulder, and he'll tramp Hayes down the stairs. Like, is anyone, seeing the barkeep, be like, "Oh, did you find my doll? It's my sleeping doll."
He looks over, he's like, "Your sleeping doll walks on its own?"
No, I've been practicing my magic. Sorry.
Try to keep it contained to your room. And he hands it back to you.
Yeah.
They're like at the base of the stairs. There's
And then kind of looking around, I assume there must be a kitchen at this place.
There's doors in the main room that you don't quite know where they lead, but yeah.
Barkeep, do you have anything to I have to admit, I'm still quite famished, and he'll shake his belly. Could I trouble you for just maybe a heel of bread and cheese?
Well, gives you kind of a tired look, and then like, all right, and then he starts heading back towards where you assume the kitchen is. Yeah, and then Thor, you could dart across. Yeah, okay. And then eventually you would be given bread and cheese.
I'll pick it back up.
Okay.
I actually do have something to do now that Thor has given me such wonderful ideas. Who do you think you're talking to here? So he'll use Cleric will use sending off a message real quick to Dover.
Okay.
And let me think. This 25 words or less. Dover, it's Jarek. I have found a new weapon to help the cause.
Oh no.
Seek Thrice Tower. Learn about the stone. Stay safe and not suspicious.
Okay, that's the message you're sending?
That's to Dover. Can respond if he wants to.
Okay, let me get my Dover going. Glorious leader, your magician's secret knows no bounds. This is fantastical. How are you doing? You must teach me the ways. Thrice Tower, I am on it. I will leave right now. The darkness of the night will
off
yeah,
already.
yeah, at some point.
Before he even said thrice tower.
And then secondly, because I forgot to do this earlier, send a message to Clifford.
Okay.
Clifford. Jarek. Adam has fallen. We seek to send his body back. Kindly cover the costs.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Sir Jarek, it's rather late. My condolences. I will gently remind you, Adam was your employee. Please cover your costs.
You bastard. Okay. And then he'll go back to bed.
Did you have Carl with you that whole time?
I assume
I
he
would
gave
hope-
Carl back to you.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Oh, there would be a message, Thor. If you wanted to check that.
Well, since I have Carl, I will read said message.
Okay. So, do you remember the last message you sent him, Jarek?
It was about like
You're doing great.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Something like that.
it was like, why do you ask?
Boss, don't be alarmed,
Okay.
but I intend to become more related to you. Do you like me?
I have so much power. We're just gonna hold on to that one.
Okay. So, as the night goes by, with everyone sleeping as they shall, the morning dawns on July 29th, and the Golden Hearts are back in action.
Whatever is going on in terms of breakfast or waking up, Valoran first takes out his surcoat, like out of where it's been stored, and it comes to Jarek, and asks if he will biff it up and his armor and just make it spotless.
Fine, and blast across Valoran's accoutrements and clean them up.
Jarek, if you please, you're with me today.
Yeah, sure. Did I grab like writing stuff?
Nothing in particular. We're just taking care of some business before we leave, and I want you to be involved.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna unpack. Clean myself up, I guess. Biddle and whatnot.
Okay.
And before they set out, I'll just check in with Rolly and just see if he's good and he knows what he's doing this morning.
Yeah, I was just about to address that. So, I'm going to speak with the. Figure the innkeeper would be a good choice for pointing me in the right direction for bulk food. Blankets should be no problem, and a good middle of the road ale or a shitty ale will be no problem to procure. What kind of toys are we looking at?
Dollies, noisemakers.
Okay, just nothing too fancy, just something to hand out to the little one.
That's right.
I'm on it. And
Thank you.
I would make my way to the innkeeper.
Okay. And Thor, are you just in the wagon?
Oh yeah. I am just, sitting with my sword waiting for people to wake up and possibly bring me food.
Okay. So, Rob, as you go down, or Rolly, as you go down and talk to the barkeep, he would, as far as like mass amounts of grain and ale and that stuff, he kind of point you towards the distributor that he uses in Vilstein, which would certainly get you satisfied for those things. As far as like toys and knickknacks and blankets and that kind of thing, he's less familiar with where to direct you, but there's like a shopping district in the city of Vilstein, like the actual city proper, that would probably do you fine for that task.
And for the bulk stuff, would that also cover the ale, or?
Yeah, it's like where he gets his ale and his bread and wheat and that kind of thing. So.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. So yeah, I would go try to take care of the food first.
Okay, you want to go ahead and give me just a charisma check just to see how you're doing as far as like bartering and whatnot.
Sure. Because my checks just always go so good.
Hey, we could play D&D and not roll the dice. Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is your save different than your charisma? Is your save different than your charisma?
Is your check different than your save?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to figure out all of the costs for these things like outside the session because that's a lot of number crunching, but I'll keep that score in mind and then that will reflect how much you spend.
Wait a minute, I'm totally wrong. Yeah, it's a charisma's +1. I picked the wrong. Sorry.
Okay, so that would just be a... yeah.
So, 14.
Yep. Solid. Okay, so you're going about doing that, James and Jarek, Valorant, Jarek. Are you setting off?
Yeah, I've got some ideas for this morning.
Okay. As you like kind of go to set off, Sierra, who spent the night in a surface dwelling for the first time, kind of comes down and finds you, looking, I don't know, kind of like hesitant maybe, approaching you. Valor and I think it is time that I depart.
Sierra, I'm sorry we couldn't give you the reception you deserve. I'm rather preoccupied now that we're here in Folk.
Quick side note, are you wearing your colors yet? Or
No,
are
I'm
you...
just carrying them.
Gotcha. Yeah, she would just kind of like look down, kind of shrug a little bit. Despite all the different comforts the party tries to give me, I do still feel rather responsible for Adam's departure, and I wish it would have gone differently, but it will not. I just wanted to make sure that my last words were securing that I do not feel good about how everything turned out.
Nor do any of us. And you'd bear no more responsibility than any one of us.
I will, return back to my legion and I will attempt to persuade them of the real threat of what we found on the road, and I will make it my sole purpose that monstrous fiend does not affect another party like it affected ours.
That would be a fitting action as part of Adam's legacy. I hope that we will meet again.
If you are ever going back through the highways, you can certainly send for me and I will come.
We will request you specifically.
It has been interesting, Valorant, and I appreciate your companionship.
Likewise. I hope you'll say goodbye to the others.
I will. Yes, I'll go do that. I'll go do that now. And then she kind of like awkwardly turns and leaves.
I'll reach out to give her an arm clasp.
She kind of like holds you for a second. You see like another pause where it looks like she might say more, and then kind of just like shakes it off and gives you a nod and turns around.
Don't die in the dark.
Don't you know our words? That seems to be my fate. Try not to fall into the sun.
Seems
Indeed.
very heavy. Cleric say to Valorant, because I believe he's there
Yeah,
with
you're
him.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, Valorant, this seems very heavy. What's
What?
It's all in Dwarvish, so.
Oh, of course.
yeah, she does comments.
Oh, she's saying goodbye, Jarek.
Oh, Yeah, thank you. You're great.
Sierra kind of turns to you, and like you would grab a slower individual's hands to guide them, she kind of grabs your hand and cups it in her own. She goes, "You were very brave. Thank you."
Yes, I know. Yes.
She kind of just nods along and then gently releases your hand and backs up.
Valorant, do you have any way to fight that god-awful nightmare? Like a lantern or anything? I don't know. I assume she'll think about that herself, but...
We passed through her Legion's outpost the entire way through the highways. So she's not going anywhere alone.
Oh, right, yeah. She's... okay.
But, yeah, I guess Sierra would then go find Rolly before you depart, catching you, I guess, as you're finishing your conversation with the barkeep. She kind of just come up and, put her hand on your back, kind of give you, a little slap. Like, Halfbeard, it is time for me to go back to the Legion. I thought I would say farewell to you.
Well, what did you think of the surface?
It's, vast. Everyone seems a little, far away. But, I don't think it agrees with me.
You've only seen a little bit for a very little time. When we come through again, I'll show you the other side. Take you to my old home.
Well, maybe in 67 years I will come find you and we can have an adventure together.
Just be hitting my stride then.
I did want to give you something before I departed because I think you get more use out of it than I would. And she kind of steps up beside you again and pulls out that small flask of draconic fire whiskey. He goes to hand it to you.
Everyone seems to think I like liquor, alcohol. Well, you're right.
Well, the talisman around your neck certainly indicates such a thing.
Oh, well. Let's try this again. It didn't go so good last time. And offer it to her.
The whiskey?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, she would take a swig, and it's clear that she's very used to it. She just guns it down.
And then I'll go right after her.
Okay, give me a Constitution saving throw, sir. You know, having drank some surface ale again and having your palate kind of brought back down to human level, having such a spicy drink hit your tongue is a bit much.
Well, I'm going to practice, and in 67 years, I'll be better at this.
I will hold you to that, Halfbeard.
And then I'll give her a hug and bring her in close and tell her to stay safe.
She would say her goodbyes to you and then walk on over to the wagon. So, Thor, you are lying there with your sword. So you would see, she has this, short red mohawk kind of thing going on, and then, a braid following it. You would just see the top of the red of her hair as she approaches the wagon, kind of looking over the rim of it, and you see her kind of, hop up a little bit, almost, pull her arms, use her arms to pull herself up to look into the wagon to see you. She's like, Thor, I am leaving you. I thought I would come say goodbye.
Ah, yes. Sarah, I appreciate you coming by and saying goodbye to me. I am sorry that things did not turn out the way I wish they would have. I don't hold you responsible. I know you do. But I think I was also partially responsible because, I held on to you, so I fell with you, and I wasn't there to protect him.
You see her eyes kind of go over to the covered figure of Adam in the back of the wagon, and then over to you again, just kind of nodding along. I've had plenty of conversation over the events, and I know that everyone feels some level of responsibility for it, and I appreciate that you all have those feelings. It makes holding the burden a bit easier, but you're the best Goliath I've ever met, Thor, and I hope that life treats you well.
You're the best dwarf that lives underground that I have ever met, and I am sure I will see you again.
You see her, just a small, faint little smile working on her lips. She kind of, nods her head a little bit. Thor, try not to be too hard on Terry. Us dwarves are an emotional sort.
I gave Terry his crap, so we're good now. But I won't try to be too hard on him. I think he may have taken it a little harder than I meant for him to take it, but yeah. I'll work on it.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and make sure that Adam gets home safely.
I will do my best.
Goodbye, Thor.
Goodbye, Shelley.
She kind of hops down, kind of takes one last glance at the wagon, whoever's outside, and then turns around and starts shuffling towards the city. Pouring out for the boys, or the girl, I guess. But yes, so Jarek and Valoran.
So I've got a list here. Just to knock some things out, I want to lead Belgrease to a stable more on the nicer side of town, and still operating under this guise of I'm working for someone else. This is my master's horse. I want them to absolutely give Belgrease the dog show American Kennel Club treatment. Just shampoo his mane, braid his tail, complete show horse style.
Okay.
And assuming we have no trouble accomplishing that, it's also our turn for shopping. First, I want to find a Herald.
Okay. It's easily done. Yep.
And when we meet with him, Jarek and I both ask him that we want to retain his service, and that whatever that may cost, we will send him a message that we want him to announce in Vilstein, that he will receive in his mind from Jarek here at some point potentially in the future.
Okay. So, reserving a Herald.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the list, and then I'll see if we need to go back on these things.
Jarek, what do you got?
Real quick on that Herald.
Mm-hmm.
As a point of order, I would actually, if they don't provide a contract, I would draw up one in, limited Jarek language that he has, but to guarantee that service is fulfilled.
Okay.
Both parties. Blah, blah, blah.
Two more things. I want to get some sort of really obvious and almost so obvious as to almost be tasteless. Like big black flower arrangement kind of thing that we are going to deliver to Salamon in remembrance of his late wife, because I could not be here for her funeral.
Okay.
And last thing that we'll actually talk through, I think, as we're shopping. Jarek, I want to try to give my mother and sister something that will help them.
Okay. Yeah.
What would you hide in a gift basket for a princess in a tower?
Safe to assume there's probably not a lot of people around us at this time.
Oh yeah, we're not idiots. At least I'm not. We're gonna find.
So Jarek would dig around into his bag, and pull out his hand, cupped slightly, and hold it over to Valor, and I can give you this.
And he takes it, whatever it is.
Jarek drops the pill into Valoran's hand.
What is this?
As far as I know, this is an instant death poison pill. If they need to silence someone quickly, this would be one of the items I would recommend giving them.
Where did this come from?
Let's just say you have to be prepared.
And you're sure that it works?
I have seen it work. It's been a little while. Hopefully the potency hasn't dropped, but I've been there firsthand as they die from it. So yeah, it should work very nice.
Is this in a container of some kind, or is it just a loose?
It's a small black pellet.
Okay. All right. We can go on.
And besides that, there's a variety of things you could do. If you really want to help out, perhaps a belt, just a nice belt with a knife in the clasp, so that way they can pull out the little clasp, and then it's actually a knife for a hidden weapon. Or being as they're women, maybe a hairpin that's especially sharp.
I like your thinking. Can you try to find those things? I'm going to get the actual gifts for this to hide these things in.
Well, the hairpin should be easy enough, and I think we may be able to put it in kind of wax so it does not seem sharp. I'm going to point something out. I look terrible. And he'll gesture at his very threadbare and like a beaten to shit clothing. Might we get something to, change it to?
That's right. I almost forgot. I had intended that even while we were still in Bronze Shard. Yes, absolutely.
And
in
I
fact,
know that Thor was looking for to wear it also.
I'll tell you what. Shop for our gifts, and then we will go get Thor and take you two shopping.
Okay, no, I can handle that on my own. That's fine.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll transform before I go into the shops. That way I'm not walking in all threadbare.
The kinds of things that we're getting, you may not want to be recognizable anyway, later on.
Easy enough.
Good, very good.
Okay. So Belgry's makeover, easy. We'll figure out cost for all these things outside the session.
Yeah.
Reserving the Herald with the contract would certainly be an odd interaction. They'd probably give you some weird looks, kind of be like, okay, but more or less kind of give you an affirmative. There's really, like, obviously there's a contract. There's really no way to know whether or not they're gonna fulfill their oath, but you can kind of hope on that one, or bring them to legal suit if they don't.
To the extent that I understand how it works, I want to make sure that Jarek knows what he needs to know about this guy in order to actually get the message to him.
They basically just have to know who they are, right? And then you can
be familiar with them. Which, as far as I know, I like one conversation.
You have to,
especially if you're talking to them with the intent of using this later. I imagine you can figure that one out.
Yeah, I think you have to see them, or at least like know their face,
Mm-hmm.
or know who they are.
But then the black flower arrangement. How distasteful are we going? Are we talking like bigger than the wagon? Like
No. Just like, an armful of black, obviously for someone that has died.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody that looks at it is going to say, "Oh, who died?"
Quick point of order. I don't know if this changes your mind or not. It's going to be a 7-day trip to get to Crow's Crest Manor.
They need to be fresh. They can be paper.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so yeah, that can all be done. And again, we'll figure out prices for that outside. And now you are searching for a pin that is potentially a weapon. And then gifts.
Personally, I think if Jarek is the one doing that part, a blacksmith. And I have the perfect cover story for it too.
Okay.
So I think Jarek would explain that his young sister is being hounded by, what are the people called? Suitors. There we go. Suitors of ill repute, and needs something in case the vagrants decide to corner her in an alley again, and would explain, clasp of the belt, but actually a knife, the leather, and then just a hairpin. What's good flower? Do an orchid
Okay.
in the shape.
Go
of an
ahead
orchid.
and give me a deception check with advantage, because I like your cover story, but you still got to sell it. Okay. Interesting. So yes, what I'm gonna give you is you go to a blacksmith and he kind of listens to your story and hears you out, and then basically kind of tells you to go somewhere else because it's not quite the issue that he could resolve. He then sends you to more or less kind of like a jewelry store, not really just jewelry, but any sort of like accessories or garments or that kind of thing. Someone that the blacksmith knows recommends you, kind of tells him to give him your name or give him his name. You go there, and then they would very kindly facilitate the tools that you need. The pin is rather easy. That can be kind of fashioned rather rudimentary. The belt clasp would probably be like an order that you would put in and then retrieve like another day or two later. So whether or not you want to do that is up to you.
I'll maybe, is there any way we could rush this? I fear for my safety.
It would be a tall order to do it hastily and have it still be discreet.
Is it possible to just get within 1 day? Rather than the or two?
I'll charge you a little more, but sure.
Okay.
Okay. So, rush order a belt.
Please, sure it's current style. We don't want her looking unfashionable.
Certainly. So, Okay, get that going, and then Valorn, you were buying the gifts to hide these things?
Yeah, dried fruit, maybe like some potpourri. I want to find a charm, like a jewelry charm that is in the shape of a dragon chess piece.
Okay.
And get that in there. I want to get a vial to actually put that black pellet in.
Uh-huh.
And on the vial, I want to label it with something, and let ask you if Rumutz is the god of life and death.
Yep.
Is there a symbol for the aspect of death of Rumutz?
Yeah, we'll go with yes.
Like, it means death. It doesn't just mean life and death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to label that vial
With that
with
symbol.
the aspect of death of Rumutz.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
That goes in the gift basket as well.
Okay.
Is chocolate a thing in Asmiliath?
Probably not in a recognizable form of our world. It's probably like baking cocoa or kind of like a delicacy or used in like different ways. It's probably not just like chocolate bars kicking around.
Okay. What about cookies?
Yeah. Cookies or like
Something
pastries or
kind
things
of a
like
bakery?
that. Yeah.
I'd like to buy a few on my way back to meet up with Valor.
Just like generic cookies.
Preferably ones that have black specks in them.
Okay. Black speck cookies.
Or, I mean, if chocolate chips aren't a thing, then yeah.
I'm sure we can figure out some sort of like earthy, seedy cookie thing, so.
Really?
Okay. Is that all of the purchases you guys need to do? You're muted, James.
Yeah, that's my whole list. At this point, we can go get Thor and go shopping
Okay.
for them.
Yes, so both Jarek and Thor are getting new fits. Okay. So, Vilstein is a rather sprawling city and can certainly get you whatever you are looking for or desire. So why don't you go ahead and just describe to me the outfit you would purchase for yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Are you talking to me?
Either of you, both of you.
So I guess it would be more up to like Valoran what I wore, because like he wants me to be a bodyguard, right? So
No, you can ask.
oh yeah, that's true. Well, I was planning.
Okay.
So, all right, let's see here. Here's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
How about a loincloth that goes down to his knees that's made out of silk? And the top half is like it's kind of loose fitting, it's kind of like a toga.
Okay.
So it's still like maybe he'll still be comfortable since he really just likes to go around naked. And also just very fine materials and maybe some nice. What's your favorite color, Thor?
Gold.
Good choice. Gold trim, black with gold trim, goes along with my colors anyway.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Is there any adjustments you want to make to that, Thor? You do wear like foot wraps currently, right?
Yeah. I could use some fancy boots. Like black boots. Or like,
Okay.
just very fancy boots with little, the things, I don't know what they're called, the little metal pieces where the shoestrings go in.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Like eyelets, metal eyelets.
I don't know, bro. I want those to be gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'll
Do
be
it.
simple enough. Certainly can get that clothing. Probably the best practice would to be asking Thor what you want to get him and then getting it himself and bring it back to the wagon versus bringing him into the city undressed. Or do you want to do that?
Oh, that works for me if it works for Thor.
That's fine.
Okay.
I had different plans, but it's all right.
We can certainly do that if you want, sir.
I just wanted to be like tailored. It would be super fun.
Well, it's all loose-fitting stuff, so I imagine that rough dimensions would work. We can get you a three-piece suit at some point, Thor.
We have to.
Okay. So, Jarek, what are your new adornments?
So, based on Valoran's explanation of folk fashion, see if I got this correct. So, what I think Jared can go for is a nice flowy, kind of silky-looking shirt with big ruffles on the hands or whatever. Probably like a nice bright lime green.
Okay.
With a kind of burnt orange vest or doublet. I'm not really sure what a doublet is, but like a vest. And then some just really nice, probably magenta trousers.
Okay.
A lot of color to it, because unless I'm remembering this entirely incorrectly, a little bit of a flashy and showy outfit is almost a social symbol. Now, I could be wrong on this, and I'm hoping to God you would correct me if I'm wrong on what you told me.
I would never do such a thing.
Well,
If you're asking Valoran, it's the color combinations are questionable, but you know,
What, you don't like the mashed up Skittle look?
there's been certainly other people in folk that have dressed this way at some point. Maybe they were entertainers, which you are too, so that works out fine.
and besides that, probably like a nice blue cape, and then finish it all off with a big floppy hat with a big feather. Probably like a brown hat, silver trim.
Okay. This is quite the image, sir. But okay.
It is meant to draw the eye.
I can tell.
Also, at some point, I would like to have a conversation with JD.
Okay. Well, let's get through Rolly's stuff real quick, and then we can have that conversation. So, Rolly, you went to the bartender, said your goodbyes to Sierra. You were going to the distributor to get basically like the big bulk things like wheat, ale, that kind of stuff. And then after that, you are left to kind of find the smaller items like blankets and toys and things of that nature on your own.
Okay, so I was able to get the food.
Yeah, that's like a pretty easy kind of like, oh, go here, do this, and again, we'll figure out payments afterwards. But yeah.
My only stipulation would have been in the midst of all the ale that we were buying, and I would have got the crap. But can we get like a little pony keg of some good shit for me?
Oh, of course.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Just we'll sneak that in. All right. So in any case, yeah, I would. Now I'm trying to find the blankets and the toys. Like, so I guess go to a commercial district.
Yeah, kind of like knick-knack stuff. Yeah, so they're the center of Vilstein is kind of like a giant marketplace. The plaza that you entered into when leaving the Dwarven highways is like a giant hub of trade and crafts and that kind of whatnot. So that would certainly be a place to go look. Again, just kind of doing like general, asking people for directions and whatnot would certainly point in the right direction. The only notable thing you would run into is as you are walking around in your armor and whatnot, and still having, various amounts of kind of travel on you, as you get closer and closer to the center of the city, it seems like people are less excited to deal with
and
you.
so I think I would have been cognizant of that. Is there any sort of like public bathhouse that I could avail myself of?
Yeah, so like most like inns and taverns would have that at some point if you like partake in that. There would also be like laundry, bathhouse, washerwoman kind of facilities as well. So you could certainly stop in there at one point.
I actually think I'd like to purchase just a. I'd like to try and find like a cape, but like something that was like ornate, a little bit.
So I don't know if I'm supposed to forget about this, but there was an item purchased for you at some point by another party member for this purpose.
I was waiting to bring that up next.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah,
remember that?
I do remember that, but I didn't.
Mhm.
It was never. I didn't. He wouldn't have known that.
Adam did pull it out, I
Mhm.
believe, in front of Broly at some point.
Yeah, he did.
He did? Okay, well then I won't do that. I just will try and get myself cleaned up so that I'm more presentable.
Yeah, so as far as I remember, it was like a blue sash with a bunch of like kind of golden dwarven lettering. Yeah, so sweet. And then you're kind of wear that over your armor to give you a bit more of an appearance.
Okay, but it wasn't anything that was specifically related to your house, was it, Valor?
No, and in fact, the next time, like if you put it on, the next time he sees you, he says, "Oh, you found it."
Yeah. Okay. Great. I didn't know if that was okay. Then yeah, I'd be wearing that. I'd do everything I could to, and I wouldn't have my helm. I'd pull my hair back. I'd have it tied up, respectable as I can possibly be.
Good stuff. Okay, yeah. So if you approach the main part of the city in that regard, you would get a much more warm welcoming from the majority of the people you deal with. Eventually, kind of being like pointed around to various, general stores and like kind of toy shops or trinket shops kind of stuff. If you just spend, a couple hours kind of bouncing from one to the other, you would eventually kind of do as you were asked, filling the wagon with various things. You do eventually find, as you're getting towards like, late morning, that Adam's body is still kind of taking up a rather sizable part of the wagon and storing everything a little bit difficult.
We wouldn't have taken that off out of the. No. Yeah. All right. Then I would take I'd take everything back. Is there anywhere we can unload this, or does it have to stay in the wagon?
You could, but just leaving
Right.
goods of yours, yeah. I mean, you have everything in there right now. It's just it's a little bit precarious.
Okay. All right. And I'm also need to find a tailor to get the rip fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in the right district for that, or?
Yeah, you could go find some sort of textile person or seamstress kind of thing, certainly, yeah.
Okay, the only other thing that I want to do while I'm out is I'd like to find, is there someone that makes spectacles or any sort of eyewear?
Yeah, there certainly would be.
Okay, so I'd like to see if they can fashion a set of glasses that are basically just opaque but have a slit. They can be wood, but just have like a slit in the middle that we can give to Terry so that he can, kind of like snow blinders, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Solid.
So-
Yeah, you could almost even get that from like one of the trinket shops that you're like getting toys and stuff from. It would be almost kind of like a wooden band, like a small wooden band that just kind of,
as simple as you want. I mean, just even a piece of leather that you can put across with something
I
that
think what we'll go with is like a rough wooden band that just has like really thin slits in the center for the eyes, which would work. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming Terry's kicking around with you because no one else has picked them up. So.
Okay, I was that works. I was gonna not surprise it with him, but bring it to him. But I would tell him, tell him to wait outside. I would go inside. I would cure that, come back out. Put these on. Might find it helpful.
You see him still kind of like squinting around everywhere, like looks over at you.
So I give them to him.
Kind of like, he still has the bronze gauntlet on one of his hands. He kind of like picks it up, kind of like examines it. He's like, this, all right. And he puts it on, and after he puts it on, it's very difficult to see, the top half of his expression. But you see like the edges of his lips kind of curl up a little bit. He kind of like nods his head. You see him like looking around kind of casually for the first time, and then over to you. He's like, excellent. Thank you, Halfbeard.
Oh, you're welcome, Terry.
What do I owe you?
Oh, the trifling 2.5 platinum. Nothing really. Just have it to me before lunch.
That dwarven wit that we love so much.
Well, it makes you more useful now. You see, so in the event of any sort of fighting or whatnot, you'll be able to join us.
Well, I do still have the crossbow you gave me, but I fear that maybe my target acquisition might be a little small at this point.
That's not everything that's small about you, but practice. You'll get to
I don't want to guess as to why you would know that fact, but I appreciate the jest.
It is a gift. You owe nothing for it. Let's get this back, and there's a little bit of dwarven quality ale we can appreciate back.
It does seem, as we're moving about, that it might be time to find a carrier for our friend. Is that something we should do now, or does the group want to do a gathering?
I would think it would be appropriate for a goodbye first.
Alright, well then let us trudge on then, Halfbeard.
Let us trudge. That was everything I think I needed, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So you would all congregate, Rob, you were rolling. You'd come back with the wagon full of goodies. Thor and Jarek would be dressed in their various states now. Valorant, are you still without your colors?
I'm keeping them with me, but I'm not wearing them yet.
Okay. But yes, I guess the three of you would be kind of hanging around the tavern, either inside or out, as Rolly comes riding back with the wagon, tapestry repaired, all the contents kind of leaning slightly out of the wagon itself to help accommodate the room for Adam, but coming back with all of his jobs done.
Valorant, the belt knife will take about a day.
All right. We're on the road as soon as it's done.
Oh, and I was thinking, these won't obviously last, but I'll pull out the cookies, and if you catch my meaning, this may be a good delivery.
I understand.
Good.
I'll so in this gift basket that we're assembling, I'll just make sure to put the vial near the cookies.
Okay. But Thor, you were able to kind of walk around now. Are you guys lingering inside or outside right now?
Inside? I've just been doing whatever they tell me to until I'm dressed.
Well, you are dressed at this point. You would, whatever clothing that you asked for would be acquired, and you have.
Then I am
been
standing behind Valoran at all times.
Okay. So, Valorant, are you inside or outside?
Can't think of anything else to do for the day, so inside.
Okay. So, as you are lingering inside, Thor, you would catch a lot of lingering gazes your way. Now that it's around noon, there's a few, scattered workers that are coming to the tavern or the inn to have a meal, kind of sit down, relax for a little bit before going back to work. And as you are shadowing Valorant to the best of your ability, you see basically every commoner that comes into the place either gives you like a second glance or kind of eyes you over the rim of their mug. The bartender himself seems less concerned about you getting very used to your presence, being in the building for a long period of time, but you are certainly a point of interest.
I'll just be like, I always, at this point, since I don't really have any place to like sheath my giant sword, if I'm standing, I'll just have it like in front of me or like on my shoulder.
Didn't we fashion you a rudimentary sheath while you were acquiring the other one?
We did, but now that I'm clothed, I'm changing my vibe.
Okay.
I don't want a sheath for it. I'd rather just like hold it at all times, or like if Valorant stops, I'll stop with it in front of me, and then if I'm sitting down, I'll just like hold it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I guess Valorant and I are just sitting down.
Okay.
Is everybody there, or is it just?
Oh, Rolly, I guess, would be striding into the door at this point if you guys are inside.
Job's done.
His booming voice echoes in the expansive room.
What have you got next, Valerie?
What?
I did everything you asked.
Thank you very much, Rolly. We're almost ready.
I would have been. I had the come in with the more expensive pony keg of ale. Does anybody have any cups?
Seth, mute.
No, you're good. Say it again, Rob.
Does anyone have any cups handy?
Terry, kind of who's been following you around, looks over at the bartender, who kind of like glances at you guys. I'm assuming at a table kind of off center of the room. We kind of like nod and start getting cups out from beneath the bar.
I just wanted to know if this ale was shitty enough. I bought a small sample of what I bought.
So Terry would go get like an armful of the cups, bring them back to the table, kind of setting them down in front of you. Thor, he would kind of stop near you and kind of nudge you and like point to his glasses. Be like, yeah?
Yeah, what?
That's pretty neat.
Oh yeah, I decided to be a little fancy now,
I see that you're looking human.
I think that's a compliment. What?
Not just any human, better than human. I picked that out myself.
It really brings out his eyes, Valorant.
Well, better that than some other part of his anatomy.
Carl's still just sitting on my shoulder.
And I would pour everyone some of the ale.
He is muted. I don't know what that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, so you get everybody a glass of the not shitty ale?
Yeah.
Okay. And then pass that all around to the group?
I will not take any.
Okay.
My mind needs to be clear.
I'll take his cup.
Who is this?
My name is Thor. I am the bodyguard to Lord Athelway. Yep.
Well,
I thought you were wearing your colors, my bad.
Not yet.
What?
I thought he was wearing his colors. That's my bad. I would have said that if he wasn't.
cheers, Valorant.
Cheers.
Everyone partake in some except for Thor and Carl, I guess.
Can he discern whether or not it's good or bad, or
I would assume Valorant is experienced enough with ale that he could figure out that it's better than what he would assume you would get.
This is not what I meant.
Wait.
Oh, it's
Rolly. There. Another cup to taste it.
yes. Just wanted to make sure it was shitty enough.
It isn't.
Well, I can. What?
It's on the wagon now. It doesn't matter now.
No, not Valorant. It's fine. This was for us. And, having a bit of a go at you, but in all reality, we need to have Adam taken off the cart, and thought it appropriate to drink in his honor, and he seemed to be on his way to making some very fine ale, and thought we should have some fine ale in his memory.
and I would pour a little bit in a cup and I would push it over to Thor and just kind of daring him not to drink it.
To Adam.
Carl, you can have some.
Carl would just dip his head into the ale and achieve nothing.
He doesn't soak it in because he's like a semi-brute.
Well, the circle is a completed circle, so there would be no where for him to absorb it through.
I'm just saying, is he like a living plant or like a dead plant? Is he even a plant?
Well, that's a question that we're never going to ask, because then I have to figure that out. So, everyone takes a drink for Adam. But Terry kind of, as he finishes his drink, kind of imposes himself on the group. I know that I have told everybody here at one point what happened. I was not the most polite about it, and I apologize. I did not want to see the little man go, and I wish that it wasn't so. But now we shall drink in his honor and hopefully move on. If it would make the group's life easier, I can go find something for Adam, some sort of service to bring him home, if you would like.
That would be quite nice of you.
Yes.
I'll only have to suffer through a few different humans, I hope, but I will make it so.
Whatever the cost is, we'll pay it. So, doesn't really.
I can go bury him.
JD, do you want to be like? Do you want to take Adam's place?
But I'm alive.
Oh, jeez. Sometimes I think you're stupider than I am. Okay. No.
So Terry would depart, heading outside to go retrieve Adam and find some sort of service to bring him home, which Sparky will tag along for. But that leaves the Golden Hearts sitting at a tavern table for the day, I guess, since the buckle that you're waiting for, Jarek, will be ready in the next morning. So you guys kind of have a day of nothing.
I have a conversation for Seth.
Okay.
No, do you want to do that now, or do you have something, Seth?
Go for it.
Seth, here right now, man. Jared.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah,
So
no.
we're all at the table.
Yes.
JD.
This, I believe, would be two cups in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thor, what's up?
Who did you send messages to?
Hmm?
Last night you said you were sending messages. Who did you send them to?
I told y'all I was gonna send a message to Clifford, who is not going to be of any assistance, but I let him know.
So that was it? You just sent one to
Thor.
Clifford?
Thor, I'm just curious. Do you want to know everything that I tell my wife?
So you messaged your wife.
One day, Thor, I'll find you a nice woman to marry, and you'll understand that some things are not always up for public discussion.
You're not saying yes or no, JD, which I find very interesting, and it reminds me of a little bit of old habits.
Thor, what do you want? Talk to people.
Who? Because I got the message too.
Someone messaged you? Wait, did Croak send a message? Thor, if this is about the town.
Somebody sent the message to me, JD. And I have information for you. But I need information.
Yeah, well, who do you want me to message for?
No, I need to know if that is all that you messaged was Clifford.
You know who else I've been messaging? And I believe I still have the broken pieces of the not platinum dragon chest piece. I'll slap those down onto the table. The bastard Torvik.
JD,
He was supposed to make me a ring. And you know what he gave me in collateral? Fucking clay. Talk to him.
You talked to him last night.
No.
Well, it just seems interesting because I tell you, the tower and those things, and then you're like, oh, this changes things. I have to send messages, and then you send message to Clifford.
So you woke me up at 2 a.m.
Do you guys want to do a deception insight check?
Oh, jeez, it's not gonna go well.
It might.
It doesn't really matter because I still don't believe you.
You know what? I'm gonna burn a lucky die just
It
because.
doesn't.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Thor, as far as your keen senses are aware, even though Jarek is always fishy as fuck, he seems to just be as fishy as fuck as usual.
I'm just gonna look at his belly button. Squint.
I mean, I've got clothes on, man.
Doesn't mean I'm not looking at your belly button.
Thor, my eyes are up here. Come on, man.
Whatever, JD.
What happened, Thor? Do I need to message Croak? What's wrong with the town?
I mean, you have from the sounds of it, I think you're going to have a son-in-law at some point.
I already have a son-in-law.
Yeah, but a new one.
What?
Yeah. So, one of your daughters and Croak are, apparently getting pretty close.
I am not paying that kind of a dowry.
I don't know what that means.
Don't worry, but goddamn it, Croak. One job, not to fuck my family.
That was the job that you gave him?
It was part of the... Give me Carl. And Jericho kind of...
Hey! Can't just manhandle Carl, okay? He's a person too.
Yeah, well, not when I'm done with him.
If you hurt Carl. Anything you hurt on Carl, JD, I hurt on you.
Yeah, well, we're just having words.
Are you gonna give him Carl?
I will let Carl walk to him.
Okay. So, Jared.
Grab him in a tight fist. Tap on his little glass face thing. Croak, you dumb bastard. I did not say jump in my daughter's bed. Get the town ready and profitable.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Back more.
I will mentally ask Carl how that was.
He has sweaty hands.
Yeah, he's kind of clammy. Anyways.
Yes. Is there any other activities that the party want to partake in for the day that they are left in Vilstein?
So I guess at one of these meetings, since we're getting ready to hit the road again, Valoran will sit down with the group. All right. This could all change when we get to Salamans. I don't know what we're riding into except for this party, the celebration of his. But some of what I was thinking when we get there, Jarek, most nobles and folk treat their staff like furniture. If you can insinuate yourself with them, they will know a treasure trove of gossip.
I'm sure I could use my silver tongue to wrestle up some information.
And while we're on the way, you can sing and recite poetry about how amazing and wonderful we are, preferably, but really whatever you've got in your repertoire. I want the common people of folk to delight in our presence.
I was working on a ditty about turtle soup.
Why not?
Okay, yeah, we'll do.
Rolly. The late wife. I would bet a great deal that her death was unnatural. Perhaps you can arrange for an autopsy.
Well, I'm quite qualified to conduct one, however. Why would they release her body to me?
They wouldn't. It needs to be a secret autopsy.
Say no more.
And Thor, until further notice, you are security.
Righto, boss.
Thank you all. The gaze upon us is only going to get more intense.
Intense gaze, gaze very intense.
Rolly, what's happening?
I think we'll be able to pull something off to help your family, help your name, and maybe accomplish a few other things as well.
Once those colors go back on, the expectations of me will be high. I may not be able to explain everything right away, but most of the eyes will also be on me. Look for opportunities.
Shall we all be? Will the opportunities be the same if we're all known to be associates? Or should we remain separate?
Well, we'll be traveling there together.
Many people travel together on the road.
Then that may be prudent. Thor is the only one that truly has to be associated with me. The rest of you could just be members of the Golden Hearts that I am
Seeking
employing.
shelter because of our prowess.
Sure.
You were very afraid on the road by yourself. Found the strong arms of Jarek and company.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry. Just having a go.
Valoran, one rather important question. What would happen, Solomon, if he were seen attempting to murder you in cold blood?
It would have to be very obvious, with lots of witnesses. The man is connected. I wouldn't be surprised if he attempts something very similar to that himself anyway.
I think we can facilitate something public and obvious, given the right opportunity.
I'm placing a great deal of faith in each of you, but let's try to make sure we have as much of the picture as possible before we do anything too drastic.
Understood.
Anything else?
Thor's just shooting laser beams out of his eyes at JD the whole time. I don't trust you. Doesn't matter.
That's all Valoran's got for the moment.
Okay. Well, I think it'd probably be fitting to pick back up when you guys depart tomorrow in the game. So if there's not anything else that you guys want to do for the day, might be a good time to end the session.
This won't actually affect anything, but just in case, I'd like to cast plant growth in its secondary function. So I guess for the rest of the day, Jarek would take 8 hours to enrich every plant life with a tile, I believe it is.
Okay.
And it should provide double the yield of food for the next year.
Okay. I assume we'd want to find a farm to do this on?
Yeah, I couldn't really care less about that. Mainly just the city.
Okay.
I figured gardens will probably look nicer, or herbalist shops will have a better growth. But
Now, does Carl grow? That's the real question.
A good question for another time. But yes, with Jarek's green thumbs, I guess we shall end the session there.